Hi friends, in this video I am going to talk about Dijkstra algorithm. If you are given the weighted graph with non-negative weights, you can use Dijkstra algorithm for finding shortest path from one source to all other. Dijkstra is the most efficient algorithm among all other known algorithm for graph with positive weights. If there are negative weights, you have other alternatives, and that is Bellman-Ford. Bellman-Ford can work with the negative edge weight but will not be able to find shortest distance when there are negative edge weight cycle. So if in a graph, when I say there is a negative edge weight cycle, wherein you start from a single source and then come back to the source sometime later in future by traversing a path, and when you add up all the edge weights, you get negative weight in total, and then we say that there is a negative cycle. So Bellman-Ford can detect that cycle, but it won't be able to find out the shortest distance at each node when there are negative cycle in the graph. Then there is some practical optimization. Dijkstra is made somewhat smarter in A star. So when you open Google Map and you have to go from, let's say, one point to other point in a city, the underlying algorithm used there is Dijkstra, but many a time we can use some kind of guidance to the algorithm, or we can smartly prune down the search space. So for example, I am in Delhi and I have to go to Gurgaon. I'll take the directional guidance. If Gurgaon is south of Delhi, then I'll remove all my searches which are going towards north. And this will help me in finding my shortest path in more optimal way than Dijkstra gives to us. So Dijkstra plus some guidance or some intelligence becomes A star. And then there is something called Floyd-Warshall. If you want to find out shortest path between any given pair, from all nodes to all other nodes, then you can use Floyd-Warshall. The only problem is it won't be as performant as Dijkstra is. So there are trade-offs. If you want to cover more scenarios, more combinations, you will have to trade it off with performance. So these were all the options available for the weighted graph. So if you are given a graph where it is unweighted graph, okay, or it is weighted graph, but then the weights are uniform in the graph, uh, then in that case you can simply use BFS, and BFS will find out the number of levels between one point to other and thereby give you the shortest path. If I take example of social graph like LinkedIn or Facebook, you will see that on LinkedIn or Facebook, if you want to find out how apart two people are, so all you need to do is to find number of nodes in between. Then in the end, I'll be talking about topologically sorted graph. It's actually orders your node in the order of what came before and what came after. So if you take example of some, you will be, if you are in software industry, you must be doing builds. Okay, so very first thing you need to do is to build all the dependent artifacts, and then you go on building the next level of artifacts till your uh, main artifact is built. So there is a dependency over there. If there are such list of tasks, okay, you may need to sort your graph as per their execution order. And once your graph is sorted like this, you can simply start your journey from the source vertex and then go to the target vertex. And since it is sorted, you will never be coming back to the previous point, and you can do shortest path search very efficiently here, even faster than Dijkstra, which is like linear time. So you need to remember all these points, when you are facing an interview, all these points have to be kept in mind. What are the practical use case of all these shortest path algorithm? Think about it. Just now I gave example of the shortest path between 2 points in a city. So you have Google Map. Google Map is one very practical example of uh, the shortest path algorithm, and you want to find out shortest path between one point to other before starting your journey. Okay, so generally you are you can model such scenario by a graph. Okay, so all the junction in the city will be your nodes, and the junctions or roundabouts are connected by roads. So those road becomes your edges. Weight could be distance or it could be time. How Dijkstra is able to find out the shortest route efficiently? That's the question. And we need to understand that. And why it is able to do so is because it employs greedy strategy. So algorithm chooses the closest vertex at every step. When I'm starting the journey, I mark the distance at source node equal to 0, and from there I select the node which is closest to source vertex, and then I continue this throughout the graph. So locally I do this selection, and somehow magically it works at the global level. Why it works? Greedy choice does not work in all cases, so you have to be very precise. You have to understand what's going underneath. You need to understand the proof, and then you can apply greedy strategy. In case of Dijkstra, it works, and I'll be explaining it in another video wherein I'll be talking about the proof of Dijkstra, why it works. And for this greedy strategy to work, we need only positive weights, because if there are any negative weight, okay, let's say you selected some node based on this greedy choice which was at least distance from the given vertex, and then there was some other path through which you came which later on added some negative weights to overall computation of the path, which brought down the total value. Your greedy selection will not work. First of all, why do we have greedy selection? It is because we want to do computation in least amount of time. In case of Dijkstra, it is linear arithmetic time. Now let's understand it through the pseudocode. So when you start your journey, at that time you assign distance 0 to the source vertex, and all other vertex are assigned distance infinity. Why? Because you are just starting your journey, and at the source you know that the distance is going to be 0, and since you have not yet reached other vertex, those are marked as infinity. And additionally, what we do, we track the path as well, because in the future when I reach a vertex and then we have found out the shortest distance, we also need to track that path and understand via which route I came. So for that we need to have some kind of parent pointer, or we will take the predecessor pointer. Okay. Okay, so this is the part of the initialization, and then we go on greedily selecting nearby nodes or I would say the node with the minimum distance from the neighboring nodes, and go on exploring it further. So for that, actually we add the source vertex initially, because source vertex is at distance 0, so it is having the minimum distance. So I'll add it to a priority queue. Why priority queue? If you have heard about heaps or priority queue, in that actually uh, finding out the minimum or maximum is done in logarithmic time, and it is very efficient. So any operation that you do on priority queue will be in log n time, except when we build that priority queue. So you want to insert, you want to update value at any node, you want to delete a node in priority queue, those all will be in log n times. And Dijkstra uses greedy strategy to find the minimum distance node, and therein we want to do it efficiently. So for that we are using priority queue. We have added source vertex to the priority queue, and then we start our journey. Okay, what we do from the priority queue, we pull out the node with minimum distance. We pull out the node with minimum distance, see here, and this would be in log n times. And then for each of the neighbor for this particular vertex with the minimum distance, I go and take their previously calculated distance. Okay, so this was the previously calculated distance, which is like dist v. And then on top of it, since I'm coming from a new vertex, I'm adding the length of the vertex here, and I am saving this calculation into a new variable. Let's call it new distance rather. New distance is alternate distance. Is it lesser than the previous distance, dist v? If it is lesser than that, then I'll update the distance at that particular node. So I'm updating the distance. You see that dist v is updated with the new distance, and then I'm also updating the previous pointer. And then in the end, I'm decreasing the priority, because what is happening is that we are bringing down the value of the distance here. So you need to decrease the priority, and this would be done in the log n time. Okay. So if you see what is happening, that initially we assigned all the value to infinity, and then we started bringing it down to the point from where I cannot further decrease it. So each of these nodes will have upper bound, and then it will start converging to a lower value, and once this conversion is complete, we have found the shortest path. Okay, let's understand the complexity of the Dijkstra. If you see that it's very much similar to traversal of graph like we do in BFS or DFS, but then at each iteration what we are doing additionally is that we are trying to extract the minimum from the priority queue, and then updating the priority also when we are going through the edges. So the total time in case of BFS, if you remember, it was O of V plus E. Why V? Because we were going through all the vertices. Okay, so if you see iteration cycle, it goes through all the vertices. Here also it goes through, in case of Dijkstra, goes through all the vertices, and in each iteration I am looking at, I would say, delta E outgoing edges, some number of edges. I'm looking at all those edges, and combined over the all iteration, if you combine it, it would become, if I do the summation over all iteration, then it would become E. So the total complexity there is O of V plus E. In case of Dijkstra, when I'm traversing, in each iteration, what I'm doing, I'm pulling out the node with minimum distance. So it would be V multiplied by the time taken to extract minimum node, plus when I'm visiting the neighbor, that time what I'm doing, decreasing the priority and updating it in the queue. So so at that time I am going to add t into time taken to decrease priority. So this is my, if you see, this is my time complexity. So now it depends, all depends on what data structure you have used to find out the minimum and handle the priority. If you simply use array, then this would turn into a v squared complexity plus e, because in array you have to do linear search to find out the minimum, and updating the priority will be in constant time. So it, with array it would be v square plus e. If you use priority queue, it would be log v time for extracting minimum and decreasing key. So it would be v plus e log v. For connected graph, where edge, total number of edges are higher than v, we can remove the v part, and then the total time complexity will be e log v. And then you can read about Fibonacci heap, wherein time to extract minimum is constant, so the total complexity there becomes v plus e log v. Let me take you through the flow of Dijkstra. And at start we have set distance at source to 0. Okay, so this is 0, d equal to 0 here. And when I start my journey from source to other vertex, okay, I go to A with new distance d equal to 1. I go to B with new distance d equal to 2. So now infinity is gone here, infinity is gone here, and here I have made it to, I come to A with cost of 1, I come to B with cost of 2, and my parent pointer become S. Okay, now I'm done with exploring the neighbor of source, so I'll mark it as visited, and I'm not going to come back to it again. Next I'll select the node with the minimum distance. So the node with the minimum distance, if you see, it is A, so I'm going to select A and explore its neighbors. So its neighbors are only C, and if I go to C, my original distance here was 1, and additionally I am incurring the cost of 2, so the total distance is going to be 3, and I'm going to update it to 3. So I'll update here also 3, and the parent pointer here is now A. Now I'll mark A as done because there is no other node to explore from A, and I'll see which has the lowest distance. So I see that B has the lowest distance here, and I'll start my journey from B now. Uh, from B I can go to D and I can go to A. A is ruled out because it is already visited. From B I can go to D now. So the total distance here would be 2 plus 3, 5, and so it would be 5, and the parent pointer would be B. And yeah, then I am done with the exploration of nearby vertices of B, so I'll mark it as done. Now out of C and D, which is having the lowest weight? C is having the lowest weight. Can we explore any other node from here? Nearby nodes? No, right? So I'll mark C as done as well. So I'll mark C as done here. Can we do anything for D? Right? From D I can go to C, but no point going back to C because that is already marked as visited. Remember, you see that even if you go to C now, you will have the higher distance, 5 plus 1, which will be greater than 3, and it would never be more than my previously calculated distance, and it is happening because we use greedy selection, and so in the end D will also be done. So here is my matrix. I had one distance array and I had one parent array, and now if I want to find out shortest distance from S to D, so the answer would be 5. If the question is like give me the shortest distance to C, the answer would be 3, and if I want to recreate path, I can go from C parent, I can follow the parent pointer till I reach the source node. So this would give you the intuition of how Dijkstra is working.